All right, in this last video for scenario 2, I just want to take a look at why is there a gain. And so to do this, I'm going to start out by looking at the opportunity costs of the two sides. Okay, so basically, so we have our opportunity costs. These are just copied from before, and I'm just going to focus on the avocado part. Okay, so so we can just make an example out of this. Well, the U.S. pays if it makes the avocados itself, it pays 5 units of corn uh, to make 1 unit of avocado. Okay, so it costs that much, but it only costs Mexico a half of a corn to make it. Okay, so it only costs Mexico half corn, right? So to make the same avocado. Okay, to make the same avocado. So we can say, well, so it's just so much cheaper in Mexico than it is in the US, and therefore the US would be better off by concentrating on the thing that it's good at, because it's much cheaper to make the other thing, the corn, in the US. So it's better off by concentrating more on the thing that it's good at, and then buying this product from Mexico instead of making it itself, right? So they'll have more. So this idea leads us that, and then Mexico at the same time will also be benefiting from this trade in much the same way. So we can kind of reach a conclusion about where the price needs to be in order to get a gain for both sides. So basically, as long as our price is between the two opportunity costs, so as long as the price as long as the price of the trade is between the two opportunity costs, both sides will benefit. And I'm just using capital O, capital C for an abbreviation for opportunity cost. Okay, so let's go ahead and check the trade that we came up with and see that actually it is between these two. So this is not really the way that we find how to trade, but it's a way to understand why it works. It's a way to understand why both sides benefit. So in our particular trade, if you remember, U.S. sent 40 corn to Mexico, and Mexico sent 30 units of avocados to the U.S. Okay, so this was what the trade was. So we're trading 40 corn for 30 avocados. So if we divide both sides by 30, in order to find out how much 1 avocado costs, so since we're using avocados as a reference, so then 1 avocado cost, well, it's 40 over 30, which is 1.33 corn. Okay, so this is 1 avocado costs 1.33 corn. And then we can say, well, why was this a gain for those two sides? Well, it's a gain for the two sides because if we look at it, for the U.S., this is really cheap. It costs the U.S. 5 corn to make an avocado, and they're in this case they're buying them from Mexico for 1.33. So they're getting way cheaper than if they make it themselves. If they made it themselves, meaning they have to make more avocados, they have to make less corn, right? And so the amount of corn they give up would be much more than if they just make corn and then they trade it with Mexico. Okay, so this is really cheap for the U.S. And for the farmers growing avocados in Mexico, it's a great deal. At home, the avocados are only receiving about a half a corn, and they're getting almost 3 times that amount by selling them to the U.S. Right? So it's also a nice profit for Mexico as well. So by buying from Mexico, U.S. is getting the good really cheap, and Mexico is getting a nice profit off of this. And I'm not going to do it, but you could turn it the other looking at the price of instead of looking at the price of avocados, you could look at the price of corn, and you will see the same thing. You'll see in that case it'll just be reversed, that the U.S. is getting a nice profit and it's really, really cheap for Mexico. So the last thing we can do with this one, just to kind of summarize, is we can look here and we can say, well, we had this range of trades. Okay, we had a range of trades, and you can kind of do this on your own after the video is over if you want. So it was somewhere between 30 and 40 corn were going to be sent in exchange for somewhere between 10 and 60 avocados. Okay, and if you pick any number in this range except for the very end, on the corn side, and any number in the range on the avocado side, you'll find that the price, the exchange price, is between those two opportunity costs. So the opportunity cost is the key, because as long as there's a gap between the opportunity costs, it gives us a chance to make a trade that benefits both sides. So all these trades will fall, all trades in the range between the two opportunity costs. Okay, and so you can go ahead and pick another one and calculate, and you'll see it ends up falling between the two. And that also tells us one more thing. And that one more thing is that if the opportunity cost is exactly the same in both countries, they can't get a gain. They can't get this kind of gain, because they'll be buying it from the other country for exactly the same as it would cost them to make it themselves. And so there's really not much point in trading in that sense. So hopefully that's clear. There's going to be more videos in a second about another scenario.